The message reached the Velthron homeworlds within hours. Supreme Commander Drexthaval read the reports from Earth with growing disbelief. An entire fleet in panic. Stories of impossible enemies. Requests for immediate evacuation from a planet that was supposed to be empty of threats. Drexthaval was the most powerful military leader in the collective. He had personally commanded the destruction of 12 species. No planet had ever resisted after being declared extinct. Assemble the Grand Fleet, he ordered his staff. Every available ship, every reserve unit. We are going to Earth personally. Sir, perhaps we should investigate further before— No investigation. No delays. If something on Earth is making our forces panic, then we will destroy that planet completely, turn it into dust and scattered atoms. Within days, the largest military force in Velthron history began moving toward Earth. 1,000 ships, 5 million soldiers, weapons that could crack open planets. On Earth, Gaia detected the approaching armada long before it arrived. The enemy is bringing everything, the AI reported to Colonel Seo Gite, who had become the strategic commander of the enhanced soldiers. Analysis suggests they intend to sterilize the entire planet from orbit. Gite studied the tactical display. He was older than most of the enhanced soldiers, with gray hair that had not changed color during his long sleep. Before the enhancements, he had been a special forces commander who specialized in impossible missions. How long until they arrive? 6 days, that gives us time. Activate Phase 3. Phase 3 was humanity's final secret. The scientists who had created the Genesis Protocol had hidden more than just enhanced soldiers under the Earth. They had hidden weapons. Across the planet, buried facilities began opening for the first time in decades. In the ruins of major cities, hidden chambers revealed their contents. Weapons that humanity had built in secret, hoping they would never be needed. Antimatter bombs. Quantum disruptors. Energy weapons that could tear apart the fabric of space itself. And in the deepest vault, something called the Genesis virus. What exactly does it do? Gite asked Dr. Park So-young's recorded message, which Gaia played from its archives. The hologram of the long-dead scientist appeared in the facility's main chamber. The Genesis virus is designed specifically to target Velthron biology. It attacks their cellular structure at the genetic level. More importantly, it spreads through their communication networks. Their communication networks? The Velthrons use bioneural links for instant communication across interstellar distances. The virus can travel along those links, spreading from ship to ship, from planet to planet. Theoretically, it could reach their entire species within weeks. Gite understood. This was not just a weapon to save Earth. This was a weapon to end the Velthron collective forever. The virus requires a direct injection into a Velthron communication system. The recording continued. Someone will have to get close enough to their command structure to deploy it manually. Around the facility, the 23 surviving enhanced soldiers prepared for their final mission. They had lost 77 of their comrades in the battles leading up to this moment. But they had accomplished something unprecedented in the galaxy. They had made the Velthrons afraid. The Grand Fleet arrived with all the power and fury that Drexthaval could bring. The ships filled Earth's orbit like a metal storm, energy weapons charged to destroy everything on the planet's surface. Begin atmospheric bombardment, the Supreme Commander ordered from his massive command ship. I want every square meter of that planet burned to glass. But as the weapons fired, something unexpected happened. Hidden throughout Earth's major cities, quantum disruptor networks activated simultaneously. The energy pulse that erupted from the planet's surface scrambled electronics across the entire Velthron fleet. Engines died. Weapon systems failed. Navigation computers crashed. Nearly half of the Grand Fleet's ships began falling toward Earth like burning meteors. Impossible, Drexthaval whispered as his own ship shuddered around him. In the chaos, smaller vessels launched from hidden facilities on Earth's surface. They were human ships built decades ago and hidden for this exact moment. Yang Taiho piloted the lead fighter, his enhanced reflexes allowing him to fly through the falling debris of alien vessels. All teams, proceed to your targets. Gite's voice came through their communications. Remember, we need to reach the Supreme Commander's ship alive. The human fighters moved through the disabled Velthron fleet like deadly fish through a school of helpless whales. They boarded ship after ship, the enhanced soldiers moving through alien corridors with lethal efficiency. Some of the Velthron ships managed to restart their systems. Space battles erupted around Earth as the few functioning alien vessels tried to fight back against enemies who seemed to know their weaknesses better than they did. Haywan led a team of pilots and captured Valthron fighters, turning the aliens' own technology against them. She flew with a precision that no normal human could achieve, her enhanced nervous system processing flight data faster than the ship's computers. But the real battle was happening inside Drexthuval's command ship. Gite and 12 other enhanced soldiers fought their way through 5 miles of corridors toward the bridge. The ship was enormous, filled with thousands of Valthron soldiers. It did not matter. The enhanced humans moved through them like a cutting beam through paper. Young Taiho carried the Genesis virus in a special container that looked like nothing more than a small metal box. Inside, the deadliest weapon humanity had ever created waited to be released. "Bridge is ahead," Gite reported as they reached the final corridor. "Heavy resistance." The last 100 Velthran guards made their stand outside the command center. They had energy shields, heavy armor, and weapons that could melt steel. They fought with the desperation of soldiers who knew their entire species depended on stopping the humans. The battle lasted 3 minutes. When it was over, all 100 Valthrans were dead. Only 7 enhanced soldiers remained alive. On the bridge, Supreme Commander Drexthuval waited with his personal guard. He was older than most Velthrans, his skin marked with the scars of a dozen wars. He had never retreated from any battle. "So you are the ghosts of Earth," he said as the enhanced soldiers entered his command center. "You are smaller than I expected." Gitai stepped forward, still carrying his weapons. "We are what you made us. We are what happens when you try to kill hope itself. Your planet is dead. Your species is extinct. What do you hope to accomplish?" "Justice." The final battle was not between armies or fleets. It was between 2 commanders, one representing a species that conquered through fear, the other representing humanity's final act of defiance. Drexthuval was strong, enhanced by Velthran technology, armed with weapons that could cut through metal. But Gite was something the Supreme Commander had never faced before, a human being who had been made perfect for killing. The fight ended when Gitai's enhanced fist punched through the alien's chest armor. As Drexthuval fell, Gite felt his own strength leaving him. The Supreme Commander's final shot had found its mark. "Yang," he whispered to the last unwounded soldier. "The virus. Deploy it now." Yang Taiho connected the Genesis virus to the command ship's communication system. Across the Valthran fleet, bioneural links carried the deadly signal to every ship, every soldier, every communication relay. From there, it spread across the galaxy at the speed of thought. Valthran worlds that had never heard of Earth suddenly found their populations dying from a plague that attacked their genetic code itself. The virus carried a message, embedded in its structure like a signature. Every Valthran who died heard the same words in their final moments. "This is what happens to species that commit genocide. This is the price of extinction. This is Earth's final gift to the galaxy." Within 3 months, the Valthran collective was gone. Their ships drifted empty through space. Their worlds fell silent. The species that had destroyed 46 others had been destroyed in turn by the ghosts of the 47th. In the facility under Mount Bekdu, Gaia recorded the final outcome of the Genesis Protocol. 23 enhanced soldiers had survived the war. Earth was empty, its atmosphere poisoned by the fighting, its cities in ruins. But across the galaxy, other worlds were safe. Species that might have been the Velthran's next victims continued to live and grow and dream of the future. "What happens now?" asked one of the surviving soldiers. Gaia's response came not from the facility's speakers, but from hidden transmitters throughout the solar system. The AI had been preparing for this moment since the day it was created. Phase 4 begins. Humanity prepared for this possibility as well. On distant worlds where humans had once explored, hidden facilities began to wake up. Genesis protocols that had waited in secret for decades, programmed to activate only after the Earth facility completed its mission. Enhanced soldiers who had never seen Earth began opening their eyes on planets hundreds of light years away. Each group was given the same mission: find species that needed protection and become their guardians. Humanity was extinct. But humanity's children, enhanced and improved and filled with their creator's determination, would make sure that genocide never succeeded in the galaxy again. The Valthran reinforcement fleet dropped out of hyperspace like falling stars. 200 ships, each one bigger than the largest human vessel ever built. Admiral Vosshaller commanded from his flagship, a massive warship that could destroy cities from orbit. Report on the planetary situation, the Admiral ordered as soon as his fleet entered. Earth Solar System, 73. Facilities destroyed in the last month, his intelligence officer replied. Nearly 10,000 soldiers missing or confirmed dead. Ground forces report encounters with unknown hostiles. Admiral Voss Haller studied the tactical display showing Earth. The planet looked peaceful from space, but the data told a different story. Something down there was systematically hunting his people. Analysis suggests we are dealing with surviving humans? He asked. Impossible, sir. Our bioscanners confirmed complete extinction 6 months ago. 0 human life signs detected. The Admiral was quiet for a moment. In his 300 years of military service, he had seen the collective conquer dozens of worlds. Nothing had ever fought back after being declared extinct. Deploy full surveillance grid, he ordered. I want every square meter of that planet monitored. Whatever is down there, we will find it. On Earth, in a captured Velthran communication center in Brazil, Technical Sergeant Kim Yesol listened to the alien fleet's transmissions. Her enhanced brain could process their language faster than their own computers could translate it. They brought everything they have, she reported to Minho through their secure channel. 2 million soldiers, atmospheric bombers, orbital weapons platforms. Good, Minho replied from his position in the ruins of London. We want them all in one place. Over the past month, the enhanced soldiers had learned much about their enemies. The Velthrons were efficient, disciplined, and technologically superior. But they had one fatal weakness. They could not adapt quickly to unexpected situations. Their entire military strategy was based on overwhelming force and predictable tactics. When something did not fit their established patterns, they responded by bringing more force rather than changing their approach. Yesol, are you ready to begin the psychological phase? Yes, sir. I have access to their entire communication network. That night, every Velthron facility on Earth received the same message. It came through their own communication systems in their own language with their own security codes. This is Earth speaking. You killed our children. You burned our cities. You thought we were gone. You were wrong. We are coming for you. We are coming for your worlds. We are coming for everyone you have ever known. The message was accompanied by video footage that the enhanced soldiers had recorded during their attacks. Velthran soldiers dying in ways that seemed impossible. Weapons that fired from the darkness. Enemies that moved too fast for cameras to track clearly. But the most disturbing part was not the violence. It was the sound. In every recording there was something that chilled Velthran blood. Laughter. Human laughter, coming from the shadows where their soldiers died. Major Beck Insu had suggested adding the laughter. He understood that fear was often more effective than bullets. They need to believe they are fighting ghosts, he had explained to Minho. Let them wonder if we are the spirits of the dead humans come back for revenge. The psychological warfare worked. Within days, Velthran soldiers began reporting strange encounters. Sentries found their fellow guards dead with no sign of struggle. Patrols disappeared without sending distress calls. Commanders received reports of impossible things. Enemies who could punch through metal doors, who could see in perfect darkness, who could survive direct hits from energy weapons. Admiral Voss Haller tried to maintain order, but fear was spreading through his forces like a disease. His soldiers began requesting transfers off-planet. Some refused to go on patrol alone. Sir, his communications officer reported with obvious nervousness, we are receiving reports that our enemies might not be entirely alive. Explain. Several combat recordings show adversaries continuing to fight after taking wounds that should be fatal. They move in ways that organic beings should not be able to move. And, sir, they do not seem to feel pain. The Admiral studied the combat footage. What he saw made no sense. Figures in the darkness who moved faster than his tracking systems could follow. Enemies who absorbed weapon hits that should have killed them instantly. Attackers who seemed to appear from nowhere and disappear just as quickly. Analysis? He demanded. Unknown, sir. The footage is authentic, but what it shows violates several laws of biology and physics. Meanwhile, the enhanced soldiers were preparing for their most ambitious attack yet. They had captured 3 Velthran ships during previous raids, and Warrant Officer Lee Hae-wan had learned to fly them. The plan is simple, Minho explained to his team leaders. We board their command ship, take control of their fleet communications, and send a message that will reach every Velthran world. What kind of message? Asked Sergeant Major Yang Tae-ho. the kind that will make them understand what they are really facing. The attack on Admiral Vossahallur's flagship came from inside his own formation. 3 Vilethron ships approached the command vessel with proper authorization codes and friendly identification signals. The Admiral's crew never suspected that the ships had been captured. They allowed them to dock without question. 30 enhanced soldiers poured into the flagship's corridors. They moved through the ship like a plague, killing everyone they encountered. Their weapons were alien technology, turned against its creators. Their tactics were human ingenuity, enhanced beyond normal limits. Yang Taeho led the assault on the bridge. He was a big man, made bigger by genetic enhancement, carrying weapons that normal humans could not even lift. The Velthron bridge crew tried to stop him, but their energy weapons barely slowed him down. When the bridge was secured, Yesol plugged into the ship's communication system. Her enhanced nervous system interfaced directly with alien technology, giving her control of the entire fleet's networks. Broadcasting now, she reported. The message went out on all frequencies, to every ship in the fleet, to every Velthron outpost in the galaxy. It was Admiral Vossahallur himself speaking, his voice calm and professional. This is Admiral Vossahallur of the Collective Third Fleet. I am speaking to you from the bridge of my flagship, which has been captured by Earth's defenders. The human species is not extinct. They have returned, and they are more dangerous than anything we have faced before. The real Admiral was tied to his command chair, forced to watch as his own words were broadcast across Velthron space. These are not the humans we destroyed. His voice continued through the hijacked transmission. These are something new, something made from human anger and human intelligence and human determination. They do not die easily. They do not forgive. They do not stop. On the view screen, footage played of the enhanced soldiers in action. Velthrans watching the broadcast saw their fellow soldiers being killed by enemies who seemed more like force of nature than living beings. I am issuing a fleet-wide evacuation order, the Admiral's voice announced. All Velthran forces are to withdraw from Earth immediately. This world belongs to its ghosts now. The broadcast ended. Across the fleet, panic spread as ship captains tried to understand what they had just heard. Some ships began moving away from Earth. Others tried to contact the flagship for clarification. Minho stood on the bridge of the captured vessel, looking out at the Velthron fleet. 200 ships carrying 2 million soldiers, all confused and frightened by an enemy they did not understand. Sir, Haywan reported from the pilot station, several ships are breaking formation. It looks like they are actually preparing to retreat. Let them go, Minho said. Let them spread the word to every Velthran world. Let them tell everyone what happens to species that commit genocide. But not all of the Velthran commanders were ready to run. Some were angry. Some were too proud to be frightened by ghosts and shadows. Admiral Vossahallur himself managed to free his hands and activate an emergency beacon. All ships, he broadcast on backup channels, ignore the previous transmission. Unknown hostiles have captured the flagship. All vessels are to converge on my position and destroy this ship immediately. The enhanced soldiers looked at Minho, waiting for orders. Well, he said with that cold smile, I suppose we do this the hard way. The final battle for Earth was about to begin. The Sahara Desert looked different now. Where once there had been endless sand, now giant metal towers reached toward the sky. Alien machines dug deep holes in the earth, pulling out materials that the Velthrans needed for their ships. Minho lay on top of a sand dune, watching the mining facility through enhanced eyes that could see for miles. Even in the darkness, everything was perfectly clear to him. He counted the guards, the machines, the weak points in their defenses. 512 enemy soldiers, he whispered into his radio. 24 heavy mining machines. 6 guard towers. Around the facility, his enhanced soldiers waited in the darkness. They had been in position for 3 hours, studying their first real target. This was not a test or training. This was war. Team 2, report, Minho said quietly. In position on the east side, came Unji's voice. She was hidden half a mile away with her sniper rifle, but Minho knew she could hit targets much farther than that. Team 3, south side ready, Jaewon reported. His team carried the heavy weapons that normal humans would need vehicles to transport. Team 4, west side ready to move, said Oh Byung-ho. His demolitions team would handle the mining equipment. Minho looked at his watch. In 60 seconds, they would find out what 25 years of enhancement could do against an alien army. All teams, Execute in 10 seconds, he said. Remember, no survivors. We want them to wonder what happened here. The attack began with silence. Yunji's sniper rifle made no sound as it fired energy bolts that passed through Valthran armor like it was paper. Guard towers went dark as their operators fell. Then Minho's team moved in from the north. They ran across the sand faster than any human had ever moved, covering a mile in less than 3 minutes. The first Valthran soldiers they encountered never knew what hit them. Minho jumped over a metal barrier that was 10 feet high. The enhanced muscles in his legs made it feel like stepping over a small rock. He landed in the middle of 4 alien soldiers and killed them all before they could raise their weapons. Around the facility, the other teams struck at the same time. Jaewon's heavy weapons tore through alien vehicles like they were made of cardboard. Oh Byung-ho's explosives turned mining machines into twisted metal. The Valthrons tried to fight back. Their weapons fired beams of energy that could melt steel, but the enhanced soldiers moved too fast, hit too hard, and appeared in places the aliens never expected. A group of 20 Valthrons cornered Lieutenant Hyo Jin near the main building. They thought they had trapped one enemy soldier. Instead, she killed them all in less than 30 seconds, moving between them like a deadly shadow. The entire battle lasted 8 minutes. When it was over, 512 Valthran soldiers were dead. Every mining machine was destroyed. The facility that had taken them months to build was now burning wreckage in the desert. The enhanced soldiers had not lost a single person. Collect all their communication equipment, Minho ordered. Gaia will want to study it. As his soldiers worked, Minho walked through the facility. The Valthrans had been so confident. They had built this place with minimal defenses because they thought there were no enemies left on Earth. That confidence would be their weakness. 300 miles away, in a Valthran command center in what used to be Cairo, General Kethmaran received a report that made no sense. Sir, we have lost contact with Mining Facility 7 Alpha, his communication officer reported. Equipment failure? The general asked without looking up from his strategic displays. Possibly, sir. All systems went offline at the same time. Send a repair team in the morning. General Kethmaran was not worried. The humans were extinct. Earth was pacified. The only dangers now were equipment problems and the occasional sandstorm, but the repair team never made it to the facility. They were intercepted 20 miles away by Sergeant Park Chan-woo and his stealth specialists. The aliens never saw them coming. Over the next week, the pattern repeated across 3 continents. Valthran facilities went silent without warning. Repair teams disappeared. Supply convoys never reached their destinations. In Australia, Yunji's sniper team destroyed a communications array that the aliens had built on top of what used to be Sydney Opera House. The aliens found their guards dead at their posts, but no sign of who had killed them. In North America, Jaewon led an assault on a weapons manufacturing plant. The aliens had converted the entire city of Detroit into a factory for their war machines. After the enhanced soldiers were done, it was a field of burning metal. In Antarctica, Oh Byung-ho's demolition experts collapsed an entire Valthran research facility into the ice. The aliens had been studying human remains, trying to understand how their extinct enemy had thought. Now they had bigger mysteries to solve. Each attack was different, but they all had one thing in common. No Valthran survivors, no witnesses, just destruction that seemed impossible for the small number of attackers who could have caused it. General, Kethmaran began to realize that something was very wrong. Show me the pattern of attacks, he ordered his tactical computer. The display showed Earth with red marks where Valthran facilities had been destroyed. There were too many to be accidents. Too coordinated to be random equipment failures. Sir, his intelligence officer said nervously, some of our soldiers have been reporting unusual things. What kind of unusual things? Stories about shadows that move faster than their tracking systems. Weapons fire that seems to come from impossible distances. Enemies that can lift our heavy equipment with their bare hands. General Kethmaran was quiet for a long moment. In 500 years of Valthran expansion, they had conquered every species they encountered. Some had been stronger, some smarter, some more numerous. But none had ever fought back after being declared extinct. How many facilities have we lost? 47, sir. In the last 10 days. The general studied the map again. The attacks were getting bolder, more frequent. Whatever was doing this was learning, adapting, getting stronger. Send a message to the Collective Fleet Command, he ordered. Request immediate reinforcement. Maximum priority. Sir, What should I tell them we are facing? General Kethamoran looked at the red marks covering his map of Earth. Each one represented hundreds of dead soldiers and millions of credits in destroyed equipment. Tell them Earth is not as dead as we thought. Far away, in the facility under Mount Bekdu, Gaia analyzed the communications traffic between Velthron outposts. The AI could see the fear growing in their messages, the uncertainty, the questions they could not answer. The enemy is requesting reinforcements, Gaia reported to Minho. How many? Unknown. But their messages suggest they are genuinely concerned about the attacks. Minho smiled the same cold smile he had worn since awakening. Around him, the other enhanced soldiers were planning their next strikes. Larger targets, more ambitious goals. They had been made to be Earth's revenge. Now they were becoming something more dangerous than that. They were becoming Earth's nightmare, visiting every world where the Velthrons thought they were safe. Deep under Mount Bekdu, machines that had slept for decades began to wake up. Lights flickered on in long hallways that had been dark for 25 years. The air systems started moving, bringing fresh oxygen to rooms that had been sealed since the day the facility was built. In the center of it all, a computer system called Gaia processed information from around the world. Satellite feeds, radio signals, heartbeat monitors. Everything was showing the same result. 0 humans detected on Earth. Gaia had been watching and waiting for this moment since the Velthron invasion began. Every day for 15 years it counted human heartbeats like a parent counting children. Now the count was 0. The AI system began the awakening process. In a huge white room filled with 100 sleeping pods, warm liquid began to drain away. The people inside had been sleeping for over 2 decades, their bodies kept alive by machines and special chemicals. They had volunteered for this, knowing they might never wake up. Knowing that if they did wake up, everyone they had ever loved would be dead. The first pod opened with a soft hiss. Steam rose from inside as the sleeping figure began to move. Sergeant First Class Han Minho opened his eyes for the first time in 25 years. His vision was perfect. Better than it had been before the enhancements. He could see every detail in the white room around him. He could hear the sound of 99 other pods opening. Minho sat up slowly. His body felt different, stronger. When he moved his arm, he could feel power in his muscles that had not been there before. When he breathed, his lungs took in more air than seemed possible. "Welcome back, Sergeant Han," a voice said from speakers in the ceiling. It was Gaia's voice, calm and female. "How do you feel?" "Different," Minho said. His voice sounded deeper than he remembered. "How long have I been asleep?" 25 years, 4 months, and 16 days. The Genesis Protocol has been activated. All human life on Earth has been terminated by the Velthron Collective. Around him, other soldiers were waking up. Minho recognized some of them. Corporal Choi Eun-ji, who had been the best sniper in the army. Staff Sergeant Lim Jae-won, who could carry equipment that took 3 normal men to lift. Lieutenant Kang Hyo-jin, the field medic who had saved hundreds of lives. They all looked the same as they had 25 years ago. But Minho could see the changes in their eyes. They were sharper, more focused. Like predators waking up from a long sleep. "Gaia," Yoonji said as she stepped out of her pod. "Show us what happened." The walls of the room became screens. Video feeds showed empty cities all over the world. Buildings destroyed, streets covered in alien machines. Ships in the sky that were not made by humans. Then Gaia showed them the war. 15 years of fighting compressed into an hour of footage. They watched human cities burn. They saw people running, hiding, fighting, dying. They watched the Velthron soldiers in their metal suits hunting humans like animals. "The enemy calls itself the Velthron Collective," Gaia explained. "They have destroyed 46 other intelligent species before coming to Earth. They do not take prisoners. They do not negotiate. They eliminate all sentient life, then use the planet's resources for their expansion." Master Sergeant Oh Byung-ho punched the wall. His enhanced fist left a crack in the concrete. 46 species? How many worlds? According to intercepted communications, the Velthrons have sterilized over 300 planets. The soldiers were quiet for a moment. They were looking at the screens, watching their home planet empty of human life. Some of them had families when they went to sleep. Children, parents, wives, husbands, all gone. Minho felt something cold and hard growing in his chest. It was not sadness. It was not fear. It was something else, something the enhancements had put inside him. How many Valthrons are on Earth now? He asked. Approximately 47 million. They have established mining operations and begun converting the atmosphere for their own use. 47 million, Liam Jaewon repeated. He was a big man, made bigger by the genetic changes, against 100 of us. That seems fair, Yoonji said quietly. Minho looked around the room at his fellow soldiers. They were all different now, enhanced, changed, made into something more than human but for a purpose that only existed because humanity was gone. Gaia, what are our capabilities? The AI brought up medical displays showing their enhanced bodies. Muscle density increased by 300%, bone structure reinforced with synthetic materials, nervous system response time improved by 400%, healing factor accelerated, brain processing speed enhanced. You can run at 60 kilometers per hour, lift 2 tons, and survive injuries that would kill normal humans. Weapons? Asked Oh Byung-ho. The facility contains enough equipment to arm a division. Energy weapons, explosives, vehicles, and manufacturing capabilities to produce more as needed. Minho walked to the center of the room. The other soldiers gathered around him. Without discussion, they had accepted him as their leader. Maybe it was his rank, or maybe it was something the enhancements had done to their group dynamics. Listen, he said, we were made for one purpose. The humans who created us knew this day might come. They made us to be Earth's revenge. He looked at each face around him, young and old men and women, all enhanced, all deadly. We are not here to rebuild humanity. We are not here to start over. We are here to make sure that what happened to our species never happens to anyone else. What do you mean? Kang Hyojin asked. I mean, we kill every single Valthron on this planet. Then we find their homeworlds and kill them there too. Gaia's voice filled the room again. Sergeant Han, initial reconnaissance suggests this may be impossible. The Valthron collective spans hundreds of systems. Minho smiled, and there was nothing human in that smile. Gaia, you said they have destroyed 46 species before us. How many of those species had something like the Genesis Protocol? None on record. Then they have never fought anyone like us before. The enhanced soldiers began moving toward the equipment rooms. As they walked, Minho could feel the changes in his body. His heart beat slower but stronger. His muscles felt like coiled springs. His mind processed information faster than it ever had. They were not human anymore. They were something new, something made from humanity's last desperate hope and coldest anger. In the equipment room, they found weapons that had been designed specifically for their enhanced capabilities. Rifles that normal humans could not even lift. Armor that moved like a second skin. Explosives that could level buildings. The nearest Valthron outpost is 60 kilometers north, Gaia informed them. It contains approximately 500 soldiers and several mining machines. Minho picked up a weapon that hummed with energy. Perfect. We start small. As the 100 enhanced soldiers prepared for their first mission, none of them talked about the world they had lost. None of them mourned for humanity. They had been made for war, and war was what they would give. Above them, alien ships flew through skies that had once belonged to humans. The Valthrons thought Earth was conquered, pacified, empty of threats. They were about to learn how wrong they could be. The burning ruins of Seoul stretched out below Captain Lee Dae-ho as he crouched behind a broken concrete wall. Smoke rose from 1,000 fires across the dead city. The air smelled of metal and ash. Somewhere in the distance, alien ships hummed through the gray sky like giant wasps. Dae-ho pressed his radio close to his ear. The voice on the other end was weak and full of static. Captain, this is Base 7. We lost contact with Base 4 an hour ago. Same with Base 9. The voice belonged to Major Kim Taemin, his second in command. How many bases do we have left? Dae-ho asked, though he already knew the answer would not be good. 3, sir. Maybe 2. The aliens hit Base 12 this morning. Dae-ho closed his eyes. Just 3 months ago, they had 50 bases hidden around the world. 50,000 people fighting to stay alive. Now they were down to maybe a few hundred. The Valthrons had been hunting humans for 15 long years. They came from deep space with ships that could destroy cities and weapons that could kill from miles away. But that was not the worst part. The worst part was how patient they were. Other alien invaders in the old movies always wanted to take over Earth quickly. The Valthrons were different. They did not want to rule humans. They wanted every single human dead. They hunted people like they were cleaning bugs from a house. Slow, careful, complete. Sir, we need to move, Taemin's voice crackled through the radio. Their scan ships are getting close. Daeho picked up his rifle and started moving through the rubble. The Vaelthrons had these special ships that could find human heartbeats from space. No matter how deep you hid, they would find you eventually. 20 minutes later, he reached the hidden entrance to their underground base. It was built in an old subway tunnel, deep enough that the alien scanners could not reach, for now. Inside the base, 37 people were all that remained of the Soul Resistance. They looked tired and hungry. Most of them had not seen sunlight in weeks. "Captain," a woman's voice called out. Daeho turned to see Dr. Park So-young walking toward him. She was the smartest person he knew, but she looked older than her 40 years. The war had aged everyone. "Doctor, any good news today?" "Actually, yes, maybe." She led him to a small room filled with computer screens and old papers. "I need to tell you about something. Something that was kept secret even from most of the government." She sat down and pulled up files on her computer. The screen showed pictures of people in white beds sleeping like they were in hospitals. "What am I looking at?" Daeho asked. "The Genesis Protocol. We made it 25 years ago, back when we thought aliens might come someday. Before anyone knew the Vaelthrons even existed." The pictures showed men and women lying in strange beds with tubes and wires attached to their bodies. They all looked peaceful, like they were just sleeping. "We took 100 of our best soldiers and made them better. Stronger, faster, smarter. Then we put them to sleep in a special place where they would be safe." "Where?" Daeho asked. "Under Mount Baekdu, in Korea, near the Chinese border. The facility is buried 3 miles underground. Even nuclear bombs could not reach it." Daeho studied the pictures. "Why are you telling me this now?" Dr. Park's face became serious. "Because they will only wake up when there are no more humans left alive on Earth. The computer system watches for human heartbeats all over the world. When it finds none, it starts the wake-up process." The idea hit Daeho like a cold wave. "You mean they wake up after we are all dead?" "Yes, they are not meant to save us. They are meant to get revenge for us." Before Daeho could answer, alarms started ringing throughout the base. Taemin's voice came over the speakers. "All soldiers to battle stations. Vaelthran ground forces are moving toward our position. We have maybe 10 minutes before they find the entrance." Daeho grabbed his weapons and ran toward the main tunnel. Around him, people were getting ready to fight. Some of them were barely old enough to be soldiers. Others were too old. But they were all humans, and they would fight until the end. Commander Yoon Ji-hae was already at the front entrance with 20 soldiers. She had been an admiral in the space fleet before the aliens destroyed all of Earth's ships. Now she was just another person with a gun trying to stay alive one more day. "How many of them?" Daeho asked her. 50, maybe more. They have those big walking machines with them." Through the tunnel opening, they could hear the sound of metal feet on concrete. The Vaelthrons wore metal suits that made them look like robots. Their weapons could burn through walls. "We could try to run," Taemin suggested. "There might be time to reach the old train tunnels." Daeho looked at the faces around him. These people had been running for years. They were tired of running. "No. We make our stand here." The first Vaelthron appeared at the tunnel entrance. It was tall and thin inside its metal suit with glowing red eyes. Behind it came more, moving in perfect lines like they were marching in a parade. The humans opened fire. Their bullets sparked off the alien armor, but some got through. The first Vaelthron fell, then 2 more. But there were too many of them. The aliens fired back with weapons that burned like little suns, the air filled with heat and light and the smell of melting metal. One by one, the humans fell. Commander Yoon went down fighting 3 aliens at once. Taemin died trying to protect the wounded. Dr. Park stayed in her computer room, sending the last of her research to other bases that might still be alive. Daeho found himself alone at the tunnel entrance, his rifle empty. 3 Vaelthrons walked toward him, their weapons glowing. He thought about the sleeping soldiers under Mount Baekdu. 100 enhanced humans waiting for this moment. Waiting for him to die so they could wake up and do what they were made to do. "Come on then," he whispered, dropping his empty gun. The alien weapons fired. Captain Lee Daeho, the last human in Seoul, fell to the ground. His heart stopped beating. Far away, deep under an ancient mountain, computers registered the event. All across Earth, similar signals were coming in. No human heartbeats detected. 0 human life signs registered. In the deepest part of the facility, a new set of alarms began to sound. Red lights flashed in empty hallways. Ancient machines hummed to life. The Genesis protocol was activating.